This is actually a slide that we used in our very first webinar we did. We've done over 700 now, back in 2006. And it is actually on the Ecolonomic Action Team and the one that you get if you're a free member here. And if you go into the home page, this is the home page. And if you go into the table of contents here and click on the table of contents, you will find in here, this is taking just a second to load, a guide to the table of contents, that this video right here is a video that will show you in a lot more detail a little bit of what a lot more than what I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to go backwards here now back to the home page where you can click on the logo up at the top, and that'll take you back up. You know what? It took me all the way out for a second. So now I'm going to go back into it, clicking here. This is what we call our opt-in form for anybody that wants to be looking at our community. And now I went back into it here. This is the guide again. So we're going to talk more about the details here, but I should have clicked in this right below it to bring it back to the home page. So we made this statement 18 months ago. We still believe it. This is going to be a game changer. So again, I put this up 18 months ago. It's still relevant today. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks for being here. Be thinking of questions that you have about EAT. I'm going to answer them at the end. This is going to be an orientation session, and all the great stuff we have, it's going to last 40 to 45 minutes. Okay. First, why should you listen to me? Who am I? I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I've made several webinars where I talk about this and more, but I want to just talk about a couple things. Most importantly, I am passionate about this planet, especially for me, related to water, even though I'm also passionate about the land. I'm amazed by anything that will make this better, truly amazed by it. And deep in my heart, I'm kind of a visionary. And I'm 65 years old now, and so I've been in business for over 45 years. And I've been told by many people that I will oftentimes see things coming in the future in business that aren't there yet. And that's being a visionary. So I've been told that by others. I kind of feel that way. So as it relates to EAT, I think we're being visionaries here. I'll talk more about that. I've participated in a lot of coaching, teaching, mentoring, networking programs through the years. And one in particular, I'll talk about in the next slide, that's used as a guide for EAT. And it stands out way above the others. And so that's kind of what EAT is patterned after. It's copying. It's hacked, as they say in the internet marketing space. And I'll talk about that. It's called OMG, by the way. I have a team of internet marketers ready to help us and reach our dreams through EAT. And we're bringing one of those on board right now, Chris Powers. Chris Powers is going to be taking over my day-to-day role of this over the next 6 months or so. We'll transition to it. And then Mark, who's on here with us, Arib, Mark Shepard, Evan Folds, a lot of our teachers and coaches are also amazing in terms of their thought processes. You guys are also, you're experts. We want to learn from you. I've personally just been a business starter, an entrepreneur, and I don't know the number, but it's been in the hundreds. I have successfully founded and directed hundreds of businesses over the last 40 years. And what does success mean? Well, it means that you start them and they're still around 5 years later, and there were some human beings that got benefits from them, either by being customers or by being staff and members of organizations. So there's been a lot of those. I think this program can be world-changing, and I think I can see the tasks that are in front of us to make it continue to thrive. So what is this Ecolonomic Action thing? First, what is Ecolonomics? Ecolonomics is a word that was made up by the actor Dennis Weaver, the environmental activist Dennis Weaver, 25 years ago. This is our 25th anniversary of the word Ecolonomics. Ecolonomics means helping people make some money making people on the planet better. State it one more time. Ecolonomics is helping people make some money making people on the planet better. It isn't just being a hobby. It isn't just caring about making people on the planet better. It's making some money doing it. It's the combination and synergy of ecology and economy. Dennis Weaver made up the word, and he kind of put his feet where his mouth is, and he formed an organization called the Institute of Ecolonomics. The Institute of Ecolonomics is our sponsor for the Ecolonomic Action Team. The Ecolonomic Action Team, or EAT as we call it, is a project that is sponsored by the 501c3 nonprofit Institute of Ecolonomics. And I should have the website for that up here, and I don't, but I'm not going to grab it right now, but we have our own separate website for the Institute of Ecolonomics. That's something you probably ought to go look at sometime. And we should actually have, there's one way we can improve, we should have a link to it on the site. So EAT is a new paradigm, even though it's 19 months old now, it's still new, in coaching, mentoring, teaching, and networking for a sustainability, permaculture, green, regenerative, all those adjectives, access and sharing, we would call an ecolonomic world. So what I've done, or we've done, is we've copied, with their permission, by the way, a very successful paradigm that's called the OMG. And OMG stands for One Man Gang. And it got started 5 years ago by 4 guys. I didn't know them at the time. I do know them now. And they were experts in internet marketing. One of them was what's called an SEO expert, search engine optimization. Another one was an e-commerce expert, things like Amazon now. Amazon's the biggest e-commerce site in the world. Another one was a funnel expert, which means how do you market and how do you bring people into programs. And then the fourth was just a generalist. These guys had made 7-figure annual incomes doing what they do in those areas, and they decided to give back. So they formed OMG, and for about 3 months, they let people come and join it for free. We did that with EAT also a year and a half ago. For the first 5 months, we allowed 2,500 people to join EAT for free. They're called our founders members, and they are lifetime members. Some of you are probably one of those. Most of you aren't. And you can't become a founder member ever again. You would have had to have been an early adopter. We told those people the only thing you have to do, it's never going to cost you anything to be a member, is that you have to stay active. And active means you have to come to one of these live sessions every once in a while. You have to watch a replay every once in a while. You have to participate in our Facebook community, something to show your activity. If you don't do that, we'll actually sort of kick you out. And that sounds harsh, but we don't want people that aren't active in our lifetime founders group. So we move them back into our Eat Free group. We've never had anybody complain about that. We have about, 1,950 members right now. Excuse me, not 1,900, 1,750. We had 2,500 at one point. By the end of the next 6 months or so, we're going to only have about 500 that are in that elite founders community, just because they're not active otherwise. So we copied this OMG program that started things for free. We did the same thing. OMG, about 3 months after they started, and by the way, they were just 4 guys teaching about their expertise. We started to do the same thing. 18 months ago, 19 months ago, I started to teach a course on backyard aquaculture. Mark Shepard started to teach a course on forest ecology. Sarah Meyer started to teach a course on chicken production, natural chicken production. Evan Fold started to teach a course on biodynamics and biodiversity and soil fertility. Evan taught for about 25 weeks. Mark taught for over 40 weeks. I taught that backyard aquaculture for about 16 weeks. I've since then taught multiple other courses. Mark is teaching another course. We're giving back. We don't get paid. I'm not doing this for a fee. I don't do the course that I just taught a little bit ago, an hour ago on aquatic ecology. Nobody's paying for that. It is free. Will it always be free? Yes, we intend for that to be free. And that's what OMG did, and we've hacked it. Our goal when we started was to have 4 tiers of people, and that's still the case today. About the first tier was going to be senior leaders and coaches. And we decided we'd have about 10 to 12 of those. We still only have 4. We're looking for about 8 more. Mark and I are 2 of them. Evan Folds is the 3rd, and actually Dave Rozier is the 4th, and we're still looking for 8 more. And we'll get those over time. If you want to be one, let us know. If you think you're an expert. What it means, though, it means you have to be committed to teach every week. And it means if you can't be there for a week, you need to find someone else to teach for you. It's a lot of responsibility. You also will earn an equity stake in what we do if we make some money doing this at some point. So there's potential reward for it. We want this to be a very special group of people. Then we have leader coaches, and those we want to be in the range of 30 or 40. And we've actually had that many. And we've had 40 different courses taught or so. And then we have special guest teachers who do 1 presentation. And we've had hundreds of those to this point. Then we want to have this serious learning and doing team. That's the elite members that I talked about. And you could become an elite member in the first 4 or 5 months by just being here. And then we started charging for that. And so we have a charge now for our elite membership. And then finally, we have the last tier, which are those that are curious, just probably a lot like you. You have no idea whether this is something you'd like. You're just checking it out. And we have what's called our Eat Free community, which is free. You can watch all of our live presentations free and replays for up to a week. And then we have a very inexpensive program called Eat Pro, where you can actually get all of our replays. There are 1,000 hours of them now. It keeps growing, 10 to 15 hours a week. And that costs $10 a month. And we haven't really promoted that, but we're going to actually start doing that more. And then lastly, the last point is that we will not allow anyone to teach from the EAT stage, from our EAT platform, unless they've done what they're teaching about. You don't get on here because you went out and took a PDC course online and you're going to teach about permaculture. You get on here and teach about permaculture if you have lived as a permaculturist. You took the course. You're living. You have a backyard program. You have a garden program. It doesn't matter what level, but you're living it and you're doing it. You don't get on here and teach just because you took some kind of a course sometime. We use a city on a hill mentality. We pay it forward. As I mentioned, every week we have topical contents from coaches and teachers. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. They're live, and we do encores of them, and they're free. The replays are always available to our elite members. They're available to our tier 4, our curiosity members, for a shorter period of time. We've had live events, and we're going to have a lot more of them around the world where they're actually free for our tier 3 members. We would normally charge maybe $500 for people otherwise, and our tier 3, our elite members, can come for free. We're doing networking already. We're helping people build their businesses. We're being Ecolonomic. Help people make some money, making people on the planet better. So you are here on the ground floor of what we call a rocket ship. And so we really want to encourage you to get involved. And then just lastly, and then I'm going to go to the page itself, is that if you become an elite member, and there's a lot of ways you can do that, and for as little as $75 a month, or you can even get a lifetime membership for as little as $750 total, never paying again, you're going to get $10,000 a year in benefit. And we firmly believe that. We have lots of people that have bought the program, not hundreds and hundreds, but close to 100, because we haven't marketed in a huge way, because we think we're still growing. This is the Eat Free community. I'm going to start there. And I'm just going to take you through the site a little bit, because I think many of you don't even know what we've got available. So when you first come to the site, and you get there by coming through our homepage. So if you're already a member, if you just click up here on My Library, I'm not going to do it because as an administrator, when I click there right now, I'm going to come to actually about 500 different things that we're creating. So it's actually a back office view. By the way, you will not see this at the top of the page. When you're going to see your page look like this. So when you come as a brand new member, the first page you get to here, you click on My Library. That's going to take you to this site, the Eat Free site. Most of you that are already members, when you just put eatcommunity.com in, this URL, see right up here, it'll just immediately take you to this home page. All right, and that's where you want to start. As it says here, start your journey. So if you click on that, start your journey, it'll take you to the table of contents. So we're just going to quickly go through this. So on the table of contents, anything that is in blue is clickable, and it's going to take you to something you can either read or watch. All right, and there's a lot there. And so you can go to the welcome, which is actually a video here, and it's about a 45-minute video that'll introduce you to the site. You can either navigate here over on the actual page, or you can go back to where I was, the previous page, and you can look at the introductory material. We have a calendar that you can click on, and it'll come up live here in just a second, where you can actually register for any of our live events. Each one of these is a different event. So notice we're here on the 22nd. These ones behind us here, you wouldn't be able to register. You're here at the orientation session. So if you want to register for this one, click on that. It'll come up right here. There's a clickable link here. You can click on that, and it'll take you to go to webinar. It says it's redirecting, but here's where you can register. Most of our sessions are series, and you only have to register once. So once you've registered to this, in this for that Robert Christador has, you are registered for all of the sessions coming up. They're not all shown here, by the way, so you only have to register once. A lot of people don't know that. So that one I just clicked on, I can get rid of that one, and I can do that on any of these. And even the past ones, if I go back to that one though, it'll direct me to the next one that's coming up. So as you can see, this week we have 11 live sessions. I'm just kind of clicking on all of them here, and you can find them here on this calendar. One thing that's on every page is a place to put comments. We really want you to put comments in. So here was back earlier this year, Jonathan, actually last year, about a year ago, I said January 30th, said, thank you, this should help a lot. And I just said, you're welcome. So we commented back. He was using the calendar. I bet there's some of you that don't even know this calendar exists. So I would highly recommend that you go back to that. The other thing we have is we add some little pieces every once in a while here. So this is one about a webinar that I did that was really kind of popular. You just go in and check it out, where I'm teaching about how you can feed the world from little ponds. So that's just sort of there for you to look at. We change these around. Then we have a survey form for aquaculture. And really, it's just something you can fill out if you'd like to get more information, which we'll give to you. And you just fill out some information here. There's actually a couple of pages of it. I actually don't think it'll allow me to go to the next page without filling out the first page. Yeah, notice there's a problem. You have to fill out the first page first. And there's certain things that you just required. So I can't show you that directly. But that's only if you're really interested in fish farming sometime. We're going to be adding more and more of these kinds of survey forms as we move along. We have a map. And with 17,000 members, you'd think there would just be dots everywhere on this map. Well, not very many of you have even put your information on the map. And we've got about 200 that are on it. But all you got to do is fill out this little form here. And we do all the work, and we'll put your info up, and then you can find other people. So you can hover in on this map, or you can click on it, and it'll show you Lynn Powell. Lynn's who we talked about earlier, who's up in Canada, and there's just information. You can connect with Lynn. Click over here on Abdi Pillai, and he is in New York. And here's his email address. Here's his phone number. And if you don't want to put your phone number or address up there, just tell us that, and we'll just put you as a dot on the map. You don't have to have it up. Here's Kate, who's down in New Zealand. Kate is one of our regulars, and with her email address. So come and visit this map. Put your information on if you like. We'd like to have more of that, and we'll get you put on the map. The next is we actually want you to tell us about your projects. And we don't emphasize this as much as we used to, but we've got a little chart here where you can actually pull this up. It's a Google document, and you can put in what your project, what are you working on, and what do you have needs on. So here's somebody that's working on rooftop gardening. Here's somebody that wants an agritourism site in the Sierra Nevadas, and there's not nearly enough up here. And here are the people that are asking. Here's the project need, whether it's a project or a need. You can scroll laterally on it. You can find out more detail of it. Lots of cool information there. And then there are the needs that we have at EAT, and there's a bunch of them, and certain people are helping with them. We really thank our community for doing that. People like Kate that we mentioned earlier, she does Facebook editing for us. So you can see that Facebook editing is one of our needs. She also helps us with Kajabi editing, which is this platform. Our platform is a company called Kajabi based in Southern California. So that's out there. I'm trying to hurry here so we get through all this. We have this is one where I was interviewed, so I talked a little bit about EAT, and it's up here to show you just sort of something about it if you like. I just added this one today. This is sort of something that, if you guys have this yourself, this is fracking, and it's a problem here in Colorado. Problem just because there's people who believe in it and others that don't. Well, if you don't believe it, if you don't think it's a good thing, this is an article that was written that I just copied and put on here. And then there's also a downloadable file over here. And the downloads are actually, Mark, I just realized something. I added this one here. We don't have downloads on our Eat Free community. And we might want to think about adding them in some areas if we can, although I think we have to do it throughout. And there's a reason for that, is that we actually don't want everybody to download. We want our elite community to be a little bit more special. And so we haven't added downloads here. So I just wanted to show this, but just because this is something you could get involved with if you'd like, and we want our members to be adding these. I think that's actually the end of our introductory. So let's go back to the table of contents here. I'll go back to the home page and go to the table of contents, which you can navigate through. And we wish you didn't have to click twice, but you actually do. And just kind of show you what's here. There's a lot here. So after this introductory info, we also have a place that you can apply for a scholarship. We don't want anybody to not be a member of our elite community if they can't afford it. And if you don't believe you can afford $75 a month, for example, and some of you can't, fill out a scholarship. We have not turned down hardly anybody for a scholarship. So I'm going to actually click on this one, show you. There's a little form that you can fill out, and it looks just like the one that you saw previously. and we used to ask for a little bit of personal information, describing. And by the way, we don't share this with anybody, and you don't have to fill out all the answers either. Why do you want to be an Elite member? Are you willing to help at all? What could you, instead of money, what else could you provide? Could you provide some kind of a service? Could you do a special session for us? Something. Fill this out. Like I said, rarely do we turn anybody down for a scholarship. So I'm just kind of going backwards here. I could actually go up to the table of contents and reach it a different way. But I'm just kind of trying to show you a variety of ways you can do it. Now you start to get into where we have courses. So this is the first, and they're in broad areas like sustainable aquaculture, and then there are a little bit more narrow categories. This happens to have backyard aquaculture. Well, anything that's in blue is free. You can get it, and so you'll have all those available. Anything that's in orange will actually not be available unless you're an Elite or a Pro member. And if you click on them, they'll actually take you to our store where you could then buy individual episodes on your own. And they're incredibly cheap, $2.99. And we have every presentation we've ever done. There are literally 700 of them plus on here. And there are 21 pages of them. And you can do searches, and I'll show you how to do that real quick. Just click up here on the search button, or you can filter. And the filtering is the easiest way because there are tags put on these. So if you just kind of know who the author of the, whatever it was might be a keyword. Let's say you want to know about deserts. And so you click on desert, and it shows you that we've got 4 of them that have something to do with deserts. Reforesting 5 million hectares of the desert, Tony Renato. Terraforming, part 3 from Neil Spackman. Terraforming, this is part 2. And then 10 guides to greening the desert. Let's pick another one. Let's pick cooking. Yeah, I was guessing we only had 1. So this is Seth Peterson, who is talking very specifically about storing and cooking. If you pick chronic health issues, we only had 1 here, although that's a tag we probably should apply. We actually have more about chronic health issues, but let's go and look at dogs. I think we only had 1 about this. Yep, this is guinea pigs and dogs. Can they mix? It's a great presentation. So if you click on any one of these, you can view it. And sometimes we have a little pro clip, which we have here, and then a little bit of descriptions. Sometimes we have some customer reviews. You can watch this little clip. I'm not going to play it right now, but it'll show you just a little trailer. By the way, I didn't know my webcam was falling over there. And again, you can add this to your cart. I'm not going to click there, and then you can end up purchasing this if you'd like. We are thinking of changing this. We're thinking of making these actually free inside of courses and doing a little bit like Coursera does it. And then you would have the chance, if you really wanted to get detail, to get a certificate or a degree, really, from something. That's something we're considering. So all of these that are in orange will be that way, that you can get those. If you become a Pro member or an Elite member, and you've got these, you have a whole course. This is a course that we sell to people on the outside for anywhere from $10 to $99, depending on what level. And I actually think I have that opened up here, right here. Here's our Profitable Backyard Aquaculture course that we sell, and it's edited a little bit more than what it is there if you become an Eat Free or Eat Pro member, but it is it's essentially the same material, and we've just edited it a little bit more for what we have within the course. But again, I'm not promoting this, but this will just show you. Otherwise, you'd have to buy this. And we're selling this to a lot of people. But if you just stay within your EAT community, you actually can get it. And you can either buy it one by one for $2.99 each. There are 15 sessions here. You know, that would cost more than you can actually buy that course, which you can get it for $10 or $29 or $99. The $99 value, you actually do get a certificate, and you do a project, and you work with me privately, and you come to question and answers. So there's a lot of benefits to it. We did a course on ecological aquaculture. And again, there's one session of that you can watch, so you can kind of see what it's about. Commercial shrimp aquaculture, again, one that you can watch within the Eat Free. Restoration agriculture, this is sort of introduction to it. And then also forest ecology. We picked a couple of those sessions you can take. This is Mark Shepard's. This is all unique material. You can't get this anywhere else. Mark has not taught this when he does keynote speeches at different places. Everything here is unique, only to EAT. You can't get it anywhere else. He did 6 different Q&A sessions. One of them's here for our Eat Free community. And now he is in the middle of this worldwide case studies. This is going to be used for a book that he's writing. Matter of fact, a lot of what he did with the forest ecology is used in a book that he's writing. And we are all the way up to session 33 and 34 here. And again, this 34, the last one here is almost always which was last week's. You can watch them. So if I click on this, you're going to see that actually this is the one where it's registering for this week. The very last one we have, you can go to, and this is another way you can register. So I'm going to get rid of that one. But if I go to this one, this is actually last week's. So we leave the replays up for about a week. So this is what he did just last week. Okay. Course on chickens, we're actually doing an encore. So sometimes of our live sessions during the week, they're encores. This one was done live previously. We're actually going through it again now. So this was the session that was last week. This is where you register at the very bottom here for the session 8 that will be this week. If you don't want to register, you can just click here and it'll take you to our store. You can buy that for $2.99. Or become an Eat Pro member for $10 a month, and you get everything that we have every month. We're getting close to the end there again, aren't we, Mark? We've got to make sure we go to another course. We had one on alpacas, on microgreens, and then a whole bunch of health courses. I'm going to scroll through these rather quickly. But with immune system, hormone health, cancer, emotional health. This one's actually being done as an encore right now. How you can eat better with Barbara Mendez. Shopping, what you can do to shop better. Then we had Q&A sessions. And here's a really big one. We host every week or so a session of partnerships with Neil Spackman and Raleigh Latham. And they have done, we're probably up to what? Maybe about 60 now, Mark, if you look at all these. But we've got a bunch of these that are up here live for you still. So here's questions from Elaine Ingham. Marine Resources by Daniel Marquez. Elaine's 4th session she did. Soil questions and so on. And we take some of those down at times. William Horvath is one of our really great Tier 2 teachers and did an amazing course for us on being an apprentice in permaculture. Evan Folds, as I mentioned, taught 25 sessions on soil fertility and bioenergetics. You know what, Mark? You should make one of those free. We took that off, probably this one. We've got Nick Burton, who's actually doing another live summit. He's one of our members. He teaches about selling. And we have business planning from Hugh Goebel. Amazing teaches on that. I'm doing an encore right now on, do I really need to sell? Yeah, you really do if you're going to be a farmer. If you don't want to sell, you better find somebody else to work with you that will help you sell. Controlled environment. Notice I'm only halfway down these. I'm going to just quickly go through this. Controlled environment agriculture. We have Q&A sessions. That's kind of what you're at now. That's our that we do on a regular basis. And then we have guest coaches that do one session, and they probably haven't done a whole series. Last week we did an encore of Shubhindru. Some weeks they're new, some weeks they're encores. Look at all these. Lots of them. Christine Jones was one that we did where I recorded it at the Acres USA conference. You should watch this one before we take it down. Matt Ramlow did an amazing presentation a couple of weeks ago. Don Smith was just last week. All those were live. Grace Longo taught about planning for your business health. I taught a course on environmental consulting. Bob Christador is doing an encore right now on having a successful business. We do planning sessions. We've stopped kind of doing those for a few weeks now, but we'll pick them up again in the future. We do those on Tuesday nights. This is one I'm teaching right now. I just taught it just earlier tonight, and last week's session was 18. This was registering for tonight. Mark will take that down. This is an amazing course on solar design that Alan Booker did. Chris Searles just finished a really awesome course on biospheric restoration. And then we also interview members, people from the community. We leave all those live for you. You can watch those whenever you'd like. And then we do a simulcast for this week. These are highlights that we do on a regular basis. Here's some more of them down here below. That's sort of the end of them. We have these. We have 2 Facebook pages. One of them for all of you that are in the EAT community, and all you need to do is just go to the site and request to become a member, and we get notified that you have requested to become a member, and all we have to do is go in and click, and you get added as a member. On our Elite Facebook site, which is this one, you actually have to ask us privately for it. It's a way, it's sort of a secondary protection. Notice there's actually more interaction on this site. These are our really serious people. And so if you become a member of the Elite community, a lot of dialogue here from people about certain topics. On the Elite site, which is here, here's what the main difference is. On the site, although there's the secret Facebook community, there's a whole bunch of other things that you get. But on the site, the big difference is when you go to the table of contents, which looks a lot the same. I haven't talked about the sidebars over here. On the sidebars, we just sort of talk about things that are coming up or other things you might want to look at. Everything's blue. You get everything. So it's all there. You want to take the whole course tonight. You want to binge watch the Permaculture Apprentice for the next 15 hours. Do the whole thing. You want to do soil fertility for the next day, 25 hours. All of these are at least an hour long. Some of them are longer than that. You can spend the next day and just binge watch soil fertility. 6 hours, 7 hours here, do this. So that's all on the Elite site. Now, all the same things are there on the Eat Pro site, but there's not a lot of the other benefits. For being an Elite member, you also get private time with the instructors. You get to come to events that we have free and a whole bunch of other things. And it's not just for a year, it's for a lifetime. So anyway, that's a big difference. We want our courses to be a lot more like this course right here called Coursera, where you can actually get courses, and I really recommend you check this out. Different type of material, and so here's solar cells that are used for planetary exploration now. So we're going to be trying to move a little bit, not in our Eat Free community, not what we're just talking about tonight, but more in what we're doing in our courses to look a little bit more like this. where today, again, I showed you one of the courses. Oops, over here, there, profitable backyard aquaculture. You know, if you click on any one of these, let's say go to business planning, it looks a little bit like what you're seeing there. And now if I click on this episode, you see that there are a couple of episodes here, and it does give you what's there. It's got an index, just like you saw there. You can actually watch it or listen to it either way. It's got downloads, actually down at the bottom. This particular one doesn't have a download. No, it's right here where you can download the video, so you can watch it at your leisure, plan, you know, and so on. But we could do better, so we're going to make our courses look a little bit more like Coursera's. Moving ahead. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you. You're going to get, if you ever come back to this, you're going to see the replay that you were on, and you were there with us. We appreciate that.